Welcome to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay, a podcast for the soul. We will be talking about how to balance life in alignment with the current cosmic energies. And without further ado, I will pass la taza to T for the transits of this week. Welcome, T.
Thank you, Shay. It's good to be here again. Thanks for coming in and listening in. We love whatever communications you've sent to us, so thank you. So we're looking at transits from June 14th to June 20th. And there aren't many, but they're really about communication. Again, of course, it's Gemini, sun season, and the first one that we're looking at is starting on June 12th to June 18th, where it'll be gone by then at that point. But, as I've said before, sometimes you can feel what's going on beforehand and it'll last a little bit after the date. And that is Mercury is in Gemini, squaring Saturn in Pisces. And I don't know if you remember one of the first episodes, we talked about squaring and how those are challenges that takes action required from us, but that we can work through it and get through it wonderfully. We don't have to do anything alone either. That I don't know, that jumps into my mind. So with Mercury and Gemini, communication is fast, it's furious. They're in their house. The image I get is birds, having like a mud bath, a bird bath. Have you ever seen them outside where there's a water fountain and their little flapping wings are just going? And there's a lot of chitter chatter. And that sometimes the messages or what we hear can be fun, they can be inquisitive, but they can also be superficial. So then that's squaring Saturn and Pisces. And when I think of Saturn and Pisces, it brings me a sense of restriction, to a sensitive and a intuitive soul, right? You have Saturn, and I thought about my dad, right? It's so funny. I was thinking about my father when I was a teenager, and he was like the Saturn to my Pisces, right? It was like don't go out, don't have fun, stay home, be careful of what you're doing. And I just wanted to have fun, to experience things, to go by my own female intuition, which was just something that I was learning to navigate, as a young teenager. Looking back, I can see what that was all about, but that's the flavor that I get with Saturn being in Pisces. So while during this transit, because it may feel heavy, we may decide, I'm just, it's like heavy, I want to lighten up. Maybe I want to have some wine. Oh, wait, maybe I'll have another glass of wine, or maybe another. And it's like, we can do that, but we can also take this time to really go deeper into ourselves and think about it as the Pisces water of the soul. And think about what it is that needs to be said, the Mercury and Gemini, and how it is that we're going to say it. Think about what your limitations are, or what you perceive your limitations are. They may not even be a reality, but it's what we're thinking about ourselves. And unite your thoughts and your feelings in order to get a greater sense of purpose, greater sense of self. The way I think of it is like if you had a jar and you had a recipe, right? So it's like your jar of expansion. You're opening up this huge mason jar, and then you just put in a little bit of reality into it, a little dash of reality into it, right? So that we're not deluding ourselves. We're not just going off into the ethers, but really taking advantage of what Saturn is providing for us at this time. And combining these ingredients will probably make it easier for you to transition at during this time, and you'll just have greater ease. That's what I have.
That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful flavor to this beautiful transit. And yes, squares are the challenge. They also push us to action. Every time I think about a square, I always think about that background music from the game Mortal Kombat, where they're like, fight, and then they have like the countdown. That's what I get when I think about a square. There's a push for action and direction here. And what I'm getting for this particular transit is I got the word elusive. And I get the word elusive for two things. One, the elements here. So we're speaking about Gemini air, and then water, and then Pisces water. These are two very elusive elements. They can transport, carry things around. So it could be a space where we can do more introspection and more imagine the things that you want to imagine, but in a way that's more grounded. So planning for the things that you want, start to think about that and put them into action. But right now, though this is a hard aspect, is about taking it easy. Allow the elusive energies, almost like a liminal space, that little void, to think and plan as well. I've also got here, there might be some conflict with people that have more wisdom than we do. What I mean by that could be parents. It could be elders that we might be butting heads with. And it's important to consider the story here, this flavor where Saturn, your Mercury, Saturn is, imagine it could be a family member or a person in your life that's a little bit older than you with more wisdom. And they're taking you to this picnic. And in the picnic table, they're sitting down with you and they're explaining to you, do it this way. Are you really healing yourself through this? Because we're talking about Saturn and Pisces. Are you taking time to think about your inner world? Are you just gonna jump the hoop and skip all these music notes? Or are you gonna take the step back and think about it? So though there might be this clash between a parent or a person has more wisdom and knowledge, don't take it into a defense mode. Rather, sit down the picnic table and listen in. There's something to consider here with this square, with this aspect and transit. There's also going to be a want and desire to share. But before you share your ideas, plan it out. Is it healing? Is it harmful? Those are the two things to consider here with this hard aspect. And once again, how do you plan to communicate? This is plan, right? Structure with Saturn in Pisces. Pisces might not feel comfortable in Saturn because Pisces loves to roam the waters of the unknown. But with Saturn being there, it's like, Pisces, take care of yourself, think clearly, go this direction, not this one. Okay, so this is my flavor for this aspect, and take your time with it. It is going to feel challenging, but the matter of it is to go inward. Think inward, what it is that you can expand on in your inner compass.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that. It seems like all of the transits are really just holding hands together today, right? They're really echoing the sentiments. So we'll look at the new moon at Gemini, which is on the 18th of June. And, we're talking about introspection, and the new moon is a time to introspect, is a time to go within, to look at the seeds that you've planted during the month, from the new moon, what has from the full moon. And so it's a time to look at it, be with it. I thought about morning tobacco prayers, and about the introspection is done in the West. So my suggestion is to take some time to meditate when you're doing this, and face yourself to the West. I always think that doing meditations during the in-between times, during dusk, during dawn, are the best times, because the veils are thin between our worlds. And, think about what the West represents. The West represents the dark waters of looking within, home of beautiful shell woman, Yemaya, black bear, brown bear, the medicine path. And when we talk about the medicine path, right? Think about the black bear, right? Or the brown bear. They are in hibernation all winter, and then they come out and they're out again. What are they doing? Are they meditating? What are bears doing? But also the medicine path. What has been healing for you this month? What seeds have you put into the ground, into the earth, into the air, into the fires when you've said your prayers, when you've written down in your journals? What is it that you've been looking for? So, and what your hopes, what your dreams are. So, take some time to sit facing toward the west, ask these entities to help you, to look within. And in your meditation, then sit down with a journal, ask for what you need to write down, what has come to you. You may see a clearing path on what your next steps are. Although the new moon isn't the time to start like jumping in and taking your next action, it will absolutely give you clues as to what your next steps are. So take time to write down the capture, the beauty of what you've done, the beauty of what you're going toward, but mostly the beauty of who you are today. There should be no critique. There should be no recrimination. If you feel like you haven't done anything for the last month, that's okay. That's fine. You needed the rest. You needed that time to just be. And that's okay. I think in this world today, we're just like run, let's do. And it doesn't serve us. We all are human. We're all in 3D bodies, and we need to honor that. So yeah, that's what I have for the new moon in Gemini.
I mean, this new moon in Gemini, we are this is an aspect of, again, air. And I wanted to bring this up because I heard the word honor, and, like honor is a big word and an aspect of everything that has happened with like the air quality in New York City. There's a point here in the new moon to appreciate the air we breathe, to appreciate our lungs. So maybe you're not planning something really big, but you can think about how to incorporate introspection through breathing, breathing workshops, or just appreciating the nature of it, feeling the air over your skin and your hair, and appreciating it that way. Because when this situation happened, I remember like looking out my window and being like, nature, we're so sorry for the things that have caused this reaction, right? And there was an aspect of me that felt appreciation for the air, and I'm happy now that the air quality is getting better. And as the weeks go, it'll get better in New York City. But take this time to appreciate literally the element, the air that's around you, your thoughts that's around you. Appreciate them. You don't have to act upon them right away. Like T mentioned, you can think about them and then put them into action when you're ready.
I'm glad that you spoke about the air and nature and giving thanks. That's something that we
I cried. I looked out my window too and I was crying. And I was like, God, like, I'm so sorry, like this has happened. And I was tearing that the nature, I was like looking at the tree outside of my window and being like, I'm so sorry you're experiencing this, I mean, this is nature. It's supposed to happen. Like things are supposed to happen, right, in nature, because it's a cycle. But when it's done because of certain things that happen, reactions, right? It is difficult for nature. It is difficult for the human being. So yeah, I cry like a baby in the past 2 days about this air quality. And for those who may not have the capacity to breathe in quality air where they are, and if anyone's struggling with their lung health as well, that we keep you in prayer, that everything will clear out as well.
Yeah, you're definitely bringing the higher mind to this. Definitely bringing in the higher mind, rather than just thinking about my eyes are tearing because my eyes are tearing because the smoke is too pungent. The smoke is too acrid for my eyes. It's really like my eyes are tearing because I am part of this earth. I am Gaia. I am the mother. I am the earth. So it's just so much deeper, and I appreciate you. I just want to say that out loud on our
and we appreciate you too, who's listening to us. We love you.
So next is, and the last one for this week that we'll be talking about is starting on June 12th again, and staying with us until about the 24th of June, which is the Sun in Gemini, which is squaring, another challenge, Neptune in Pisces. So Sun in Gemini, again, it's about communication. It's about what creative energies that you are using as your being, right? The sun is here and all the planets, go around the sun. And so who are you in your entity? What are you directing outwards? It's important to express ourselves, but it's also important to be discerning in what we express outside of ourselves. Neptune in Pisces, we think, Neptune is a slower moving planet, which usually affects generations more than the individuals. We've talked about that before. Neptune is in harmony with Pisces. And I tend to think, and I've mentioned this before, of Olokun in the Orisha tradition, who is the deepest aspect of the sea and personifies harmony in both the masculine and feminine attributes. It's gracefully balanced, Olokun, and sometimes you'll hear people calling Olokun he, and other people are calling Olokun she. And Olokun is both. Olokun is balance and harmony personified. So, and that to me personifies Neptune. So that's really big when you think about the Sun in Gemini, which is up in the sky, and then you think about Neptune in Pisces, which is under the sea. So the word elucidation comes to me. Be aware, have your eyes open. I mean, we don't know what's at the bottom of the sea, right? There's this old saying, one of the Dilogun speaks, right? The four shells speak about no one knows what's at the bottom of the sea. Olokun knows what's at the bottom of the sea, right? Talk to that aspect of the sea. So what comes to me is that saying no one knows what's at the bottom of the sea, and also to thine own self be true. Know what's going on inside of yourself during this aspect. Again, the introspection, again, the meditation will help you to get there. Be aware of illusions, be aware of deceptions that might be aired out, whether it's coming from you or through someone else. Remember that words are our biggest instruments, our most powerful weapons. So how is it that you're going to use your words, right? When you're underneath the sea, when you're in the air, what you project reverberates throughout the universes. So know what it is that you are reverberating throughout the universes. I think about people say, don't say, oh, poor me, don't say that, because that's what you're putting out into the universe, right? Be optimistic, be real, but be optimistic and be positive with the words that you are putting out there. And I think about the foundation of compassion, of empathy, of healing.
Beautiful. With this aspect, again, the word illusion, elusive, are so intertwined with this aspect. And my question to you is, who are you really becoming here? Because the sun is the ego, right? And the Neptune is our not only biggest dreams, but is our sole purpose. Is working in intuition, is working with the waters of understanding, right? So where are you putting action towards to realizing who you really are? And this is hard. So it's like before you go into your own awakening, there's going to be some strife around figuring out who you really are and what you want to project out of the world. Like Dee had mentioned, what is your uniqueness, unique sauce in this world? Is it because you really want this, or is it because people telling you to do this? Pick and choose one of them. It's important to think about by writing it down so you can physically see it. I always tell people you can also write it on a sticky note, put it somewhere, slap it somewhere where you can go back to because it's there for you. there's going to be a sense of loss. At the same time, there's going to be gain here, because Neptune is about like losing all the ego. And then the sun is about the ego. So what part of yourself are you rushing into that needs to kind of soften, right? It's like when you, I don't know why I'm getting this, when you drop off like clothes at the dry cleaner, right? It probably is dirty, has all this stuff in it, junk. And then by the end, your clothing is like crispy clear, and it's like, like everything, it looks great, right? And it's in this plastic bag. So thinking about, that's a funny story, right? To think about how that applies, like the before and after, because this aspect is here until the 24th, 25th of June. So there's going to be this 2-3 weeks of, okay, what part of myself do I begin to lose now? And then you put the action into it, because remember, squares are about action. It's about gaining direction in your life purpose right now, and gaining a different position in the world you're in right now. So it could be in your professional life, it could be in your spiritual life, it could be different arenas of your life, to think about after this transit, how you're feeling. What have you softened into? And this is important for all of us, because though Neptune is a generational planet, it is, think about it as a big boom, right? A big amplified energy there into our personal planet of the ego, of the sun. So thinking about what are we gaining and losing, and more importantly, where are we growing? Because Neptune eventually will help us grow as well in our spiritual self, and how to work in the highest good of who we are.
Great, thank you. So this was another great podcast from my perspective, because I love letting in all the messages that want to come out to you all. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening to our podcast and joining us today. So you've listened. Now I'll ask you if you can like, subscribe, and share, and so we can just keep on working with you and being with you. And as always, con mucho sabor, T and Shay, Sabor Astrology.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.